I want to address, of course, what is going on right now in the world, the challenge that Israel is facing. This is a momentous time. It is an extraordinarily challenging time, and it calls for us to think about this with strategic clarity and perhaps even more importantly, with moral clarity. And I'm really heartened that we have many generations that are sitting in the room this morning, because this is something which we need to think about clearly, Ledor Vador, from one generation to another. Who would imagine that 80 years after the end of World War II, a time, a period when Nazi Germany wrought havoc on the world, that moral clarity would come from the leader of Germany? And just this week, Chancellor Merz of Germany said, "This is the dirty work Israel is doing for all of us. We are also victims of this regime. This Mullah regime has brought death and destruction to the world." He said out loud what many people are thinking, what many in Europe are thinking, what many in the Middle East are thinking, what many in Iran are thinking. And I give him credit for that strategic and moral clarity. Now, what does it mean for Israel right now in its conflict with Iran to be doing the work of the world? So on one level, it is physical. Israel is doing what she can to try to weaken Iran's nuclear capability. But it extends beyond that. There is an additional level of significance to what Israel is doing, and that has to do with values. It has to do with democratic values that Israel represents, and democratic values, the antithesis of which Iran represents. You may, of course, as you are following all of the challenges that Israel is facing, know that Israel declared that events needed to be canceled that took place in public. We have dear friends in Ra'anana, and their son got married hours before Israel launched the attack on Iran, one of the first public celebrations that took place. Many, many events were canceled. One event that was canceled was the Tel Aviv Pride March. So happens that the Pride March in Jerusalem was allowed to take place. It took place a few weeks earlier. But the Tel Aviv Pride March had to be canceled. I assure you that during this strike, Iran does not have to cancel the Tehran Pride March. Iran does not have to cancel the Isfahan Pride March, because that doesn't happen, because LGBT people in Iran are persecuted in ways that are brutal. And the same is true for the treatment of women, and the same is true for the treatment of minority religious groups. Ask anyone if they would rather be LGBT or female or Baha'i in Tel Aviv or in Tehran. And that is an important message that we need to communicate to the world. So when the chancellor says Israel is fighting our war for us, he doesn't just mean fighting nuclear capability. He means fighting against a regime that represents the antithesis of what the state of Israel represents. So yes, Chancellor Merz, you are right. Israel is doing your work and the rest of the work of Israel, of Europe, and the work of the rest of the Middle East, and the work of North and South America, and the work of the people of Iran. Because Iran has a regime whose anti-democratic efforts know no bounds. All of this provides additional reason to support Israel at this time. All of this may or may not move the needle for people who care about human rights, some of whom can sometimes, as we have seen, be a little bit inconsistent and even hypocritical. But that is not the major reason why Israel should be supported right now. And I'm about to say something that I hope that Jews of all ages and all decent human beings will be able to understand and to accept. The reason why Israel should be supported is because every nation has the right to self-defense. Every nation has the right to do what they need to do proactively and reactively to ensure that their citizens are safe and free. And even if Iran only posed a threat to Israel, Israel would still have the right and the responsibility to defend itself. And so we know, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know, Israel has been fighting Iran's proxies for decades, peaking with the October 7th attack. Israel's support of Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran's support of Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis has done grievous harm to Israelis for decades, and Israel has the right and the responsibility to prevent its citizens from being harmed. And yes, Iran's support of the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas has also done grievous harm to Yemenis and Lebanese and Palestinians, but fundamentally, Israel has the right to self-defense. And what's remarkable, but not surprising, is that Israelis who can disagree about many things, and many people who have a lot of criticism with the current Israeli government within Israel agree there is majority support that this effort needs to be strengthened and supported in every way. I want to read something that I read last week, but I'll read it again. It was written by Yair Lapid, a leader of the opposition in Israel. And here is what he wrote, and it gives such clarity. Israel has always stood united in the face of existential threats. I stand fully behind the goals of this operation, behind our security services. The opposition will offer assistance in any way that it can to ensure the success of the mission. When it comes to the security of the people of Israel in the face of our enemies, we are one people with one mission. Our children will not live in fear of an Iranian nuclear bomb, not today, not ever. I want all generations of Jews and all decent people willing to understand what needs to be understood to recognize, first, that Israel's struggle against Iran is a struggle on behalf of world security and wider human rights. And second, that as a value in and of itself, the Jewish people have a right and a responsibility to protect ourselves. We don't have to apologize for that. We don't have to defend it. We don't have to give additional reasons, even though there are many additional reasons. I'm going to pan back, and then I'm going to laser focus on one phrase from this morning's parasha. Panning back, we as a people have always recognized two things that are not mutually exclusive. They are in fact mutually reinforcing, and they are, one, that we have an obligation and a responsibility to protect ourselves, and two, that we have wider responsibilities to the people around us, wider responsibilities to bring goodness and justice and light, not just to ourselves, but to the rest of the world. That is all over the Torah. That is all over the prophets. We protect ourselves for sure. We also care about other people, and that is a source of our strength. And so, focus now on one phrase. The two scouts that Nathan spoke about, Kalev and Yehoshua, when they came back, they said, yeah, there are big people there. And yeah, it's a little scary, but Tova haaretz me'od me'od. They said, this land is very, very good. Now, Midrash, rabbinic interpretation, often likes to play with why are words repeated. And I have to admit, I didn't find this particular interpretation, but Torah is Torat Chaim. It lives in each generation. And so I'm going to add an interpretation. And I would like to say that the first me'od, the first very, means that we have a responsibility to make sure that we are strong, that we are free, that we are protected. And the second me'od, the second very, means that what we do will have repercussions for the rest of the world, because we care not only about our own strength, but about bringing the right values to the rest of the world. So Israel is indeed, as it often has, fighting the world's war. And I hope that she will succeed, and I hope that she will be supported, and I hope that we, like the Chancellor of Germany, will be able to bring clarity and light at this point in time. May Israel be strong. May she continue to do her work and our work. Amen.